I never believed in ghost stories. That was until last winter. My husband and I had just moved into a small house in rural Maine. It was quiet, peaceful, the kind of place you think you could raise a family. Our daughter, Lily, was barely 6 months old. Every night, we put her to sleep in the nursery and kept the baby monitor on the nightstand beside our bed. One night, around 2:30 a.m., I woke up to the sound of Lily babbling through the monitor. At first, I thought it was cute. She often mumbled in her sleep. But then I heard another voice, a deep male voice, whispering. It was hard to make out the words, but it sounded like he was talking to her. I shook my husband awake and told him to listen. We both stared at the monitor, frozen. The whispering continued, and then Lily giggled. We ran to her room. The second we opened the nursery door, the whispering stopped. Lily was lying there, wide awake, smiling at the empty corner of the room. We searched the whole house. Locked doors, no open windows, nothing. The next night, I turned the baby monitor volume all the way down, but I kept it on. At exactly 2:30 a.m., the screen lit up, motion detected. I couldn't help myself. I turned up the volume. The same deep voice whispered, "Don't worry, I'll come get you soon." I haven't used the baby monitor since, but sometimes at 2:30 a.m., Lily still wakes up smiling at that same empty corner. I had just moved into this old apartment building in Berlin. The rent was cheap, and honestly, I thought I'd gotten lucky. High ceilings, big windows, wooden floors that creaked when you walked. It felt charming. There was this long hallway in my apartment, and at the very end, a locked door. The landlord told me it was just a storage room and that I didn't need to worry about it. I didn't think much of it at first. A few nights in, I started hearing these faint knocks from behind that door. Just tap, tap, tap. I figured maybe it was a neighbor on the other side, but when I asked around, everyone said no one else lived on my floor. Then the knocking changed. It became scratching, slow, like fingernails dragging on wood. It happened every night. And then, at exactly 3:12 a.m., it stopped. That's when I heard it, someone whisper my name. Emma. I froze. I never told anyone in the building my name. The next day, I went to the landlord and told him what I'd heard. The second I mentioned the whisper, he went pale. He just muttered something about that room and left. No explanation. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I grabbed a screwdriver and went to the door. The lock was old, it didn't take much to pry it open. Inside was a small, dark room. The wallpaper was peeling, the air was cold, and in the middle was this old wooden chair, facing the corner. I took one step inside, and the door slammed shut behind me. I couldn't see a thing, but I heard breathing slow, heavy right next to my ear. The next thing I remember is nothing. I woke up on the floor of my apartment, morning light coming in through the window. The door at the end of the hall was locked again, and now, sometimes, late at night, I still hear scratching, and sometimes, I swear, I hear a voice whisper my name. It was a quiet November night in a small Midwestern town. Daniel, a late-night radio host, was used to long, uneventful hours in the studio. The station was old, with peeling wallpaper and an empty break room that always smelled faintly of dust. Around 2:13 a.m., he got a call on the studio line. It was unusual, no one called that late. He answered with his usual charm. "Midnight airwaves, you're live." Silence. Then, a faint, trembling whisper. "You have to stop talking. He hears you." Daniel chuckled, thinking it was a prank. "Who hears me?" The line went dead. He shrugged it off and went back to playing music. But minutes later, the lights in the control room flickered. Through the glass window, in the dark hallway, he thought he saw someone standing there tall, motionless. When he opened the studio door, the hallway was empty. At 2:41 a.m., the phone rang again. Same voice, more desperate. "He's closer now. Please, just stop talking." Daniel, now unsettled, muted his mic and checked the station's front door still locked. But when he returned to the studio, every single dial, switch, and button was turned to maximum. The music was blasting static. The phone rang a third time. This time the voice wasn't whispering, it was right behind him. "I told you to stop." Daniel spun around. The studio was empty, but the glass window now showed a reflection, a tall, faceless figure standing directly behind him. The next morning, the station's manager arrived to find the studio door locked from the inside. The chair was still warm, the microphone live, but Daniel was gone. The broadcast had been nothing but static for the rest of the night except for one faint repeating phrase in the background. He's closer now. Ow. Last night, I was washing dishes late. Outside, snow was falling gently. In the reflection on the kitchen window, I could see myself until I realized it wasn't me. It was another face, lower than my own, staring straight at me. I froze. I didn't dare move. I didn't even blink. A few seconds later, the face smiled a long, unnatural smile and slowly backed away into the darkness. All the doors were locked. There were no footprints in the snow. But every time I walk into the kitchen now, I still feel like someone's watching me from the window.